So if we're going to put a lockbox together, we want to make sure the lockbox actually has a lock and a key. You know, you can't show a lockbox in the front and in the back have a little hole that things may move out of. Perpetual sounds good. Sounds like goes on forever and we don't have to worry about what happens with it, but technically, as we all know, the devil's in the details in this building, and one word can make a difference, a major difference in the meaning and the effect of something that we write. We come to a gray area in my mind, in our caucus's mind, is what money goes in it and what money stays in it. If you have X amount of dollars going in it, I feel somewhat comfortable with the fact that X amount of dollars, once it goes in it, it will stay in it. That's not my biggest concern now. My biggest concern is, of all the revenue streams that we are identifying and will be identifying to go into the lockbox, we can manipulate those still. And we see the language that says, only as long as such sources continue to be authorized by statute to be collected or received. So the reality is yes, we identify gas tax, we identify, God forbid, tolls, we identify different things. I know tolls are in a different category as far as this. We talk about gas tax. That money goes in there. But based on the language of this lockbox, we meaning a legislature, can decide to change that and say, you know what, we don't want a gas tax, or we don't want as much gas tax, we want to call it a pizza tax. Let's just call it that. And then we could take that and put it somewhere else. So the problem with the language going in is it is not as specific as it needs to be. It still allows for manipulation, and I don't use that word in a negative way, but the reality is we have had a big shell game going on up here for many years, and by that I mean this. We owe this amount of money, we're not going to pay that this year, we're not going to take it over here, where we owe this money, and then the money we owe there, let's just take it and pay here, because we need to owe that more, pay that more than we need to pay this. And so our concern is very serious, because we agree this needs to be done. Okay, we all agree this needs to be done, but we have to do it right the first time. We cannot get in the situation that we've gotten in with the constitutional spending cap. Because as we know, since 1992, we've never defined that properly. And as we also know, since 1992, that's been manipulated year in and year out. I don't know anybody who doesn't agree with the lockbox in general. And I urge everyone in this building to sit down and figure out a way to do this the right way. It's a concept we all support, and as you know, Senator, it was a Republican, proposal from the beginning. So we believe in it. We believe that this is something we need to do for ourselves and for the public to understand that what we're doing up here after they elect us is something they should trust. You want to talk about hypocrisy. We tried to make this pass in December, and at the very same moment, not just the same day, but the very same moment, we took $35 million out of the transportation fund. And I know when I say that to people, the answer I get is, well, that's why we need the lockbox. And at that point, I want to throw my hands up in the air. Because then it's like saying, we don't trust ourselves, so we have to have an artificial way of making ourselves be honest with each other. As much as I think a lockbox amendment is very important, I would rather not do one than do one that has holes in it. And I agree with you. I know almost everybody in this committee, and I know that you've been very supportive of this. So it's not like I'm having an argument about how we feel about it. But it's very important that we understand, and we've all seen, because we've all been here for several years, that each year, and now it has become almost monthly, we end up in a bigger and bigger deficit. And what happens when we have that is money has to be found. And when money has to be found, there's only a couple ways to find it. Okay? There's taxes, there's cuts, there's finding more efficient ways to do it. And you know that the House and Senate Republican caucuses feel very strongly about making structural changes to fix the sustainability of the state down the road. But to say we have a lockbox and to pass a lockbox that at the end of the day can still be manipulated, the funds can still be manipulated going in, to me, is no lockbox at all.